What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of J&D Sports Talk. Today's episode, I'm going to be giving you my NFL Week 14 reactions, and I'm also going to be giving you my College Football Championship Week reactions, a couple crazy games there, and then some really good NFL games this week. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. All right, first up, we got Thursday Night Football between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. This game was very good. First half of the game, Green Bay didn't have much going, but then second half, they got things going, but Detroit ultimately held on, kicking a field goal late in the game. A 4th and 5 call, 4th and 5, or was it like 4th and 1 actually? Yeah, 4th and 1. Risky, but it worked for Detroit late in the game. Jordan Love threw a touchdown with 206 yards. Josh Jacobs had 3 touchdowns. He had a really good game. All 3 of those were rushing. Christian Watson led the team in receiving with 4 catches, 114 yards. Tucker Kraft caught a touchdown. And Isaiah McDuffie had a total of 15 tackles. Green Bay had 1 sack by Rashawn Gary, 4 tackles for loss, and 3 pass deflections. Keisean Nixon had an interception for 16 yards. And Brandon McManus went 1 for 1 a field goal from 32. 63,987 people in attendance for this game. Then on the other side, with Jared Goff, he had 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Montgomery ran 1 in. Jamison Williams led the team in receiving with 5 catches, 80 yards. And Tim Patrick caught 2 touchdowns, his first touchdown since 2021. And Jahmyr Gibbs also caught a touchdown. Jack Campbell led the team in tackles with 8. And Detroit had a total of 1 sack by Zadarius Smith, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. Jake Bates went 2 for 2 on field goals long from 43. This was a good game. I got this game right. I picked the Lions in this one. It was close game, but like I said, Green Bay didn't have much of a good first half as they wanted to offensively, and that ultimately kind of been the game difference in this one. Detroit had more total yards. Detroit had 391 yards. Meanwhile, Green Bay had 298. And Detroit had 280 passing yards. Green Bay had 199. More rushing yards for Detroit. And both teams are 4 for 5 in the red zone. Both had identical penalty yards. And both turned the ball over once. So this was a good game. And like I predicted, Lions got the win. All right, guys, moving on. We got the Carolina Panthers going to Philly and almost pulling off an upset. This is a 4th game in a row. It came down to the wire for the Panthers. Close win against the Saints. Close win against the Giants. Barely losing to the Chiefs. 5th game in a row, excuse me. Barely losing to the Chiefs. Barely losing to the Bucs. We definitely should have won that. And now barely losing to the Eagles. Had a lead going into the 4th quarter. Another good game for us. I mean, I said this a little bit on TikTok, but I'll say it right now. Even though we're 3-10 right now, I really am confident in the direction the Panthers are heading. I'm very excited. Think we have a very bright future. We have our quarterback of the future, coach, GM of the future, a couple players on our team that's going to be the future, Legette, Horn, Brown, Sanders, the line, Hunt, Hickey, Damian Lewis, Moton, and defense, you got Horn, you got Brown, you got Jewel, Thompson, maybe even Ashawn Robinson. He's been playing good. Players like that. A couple more. But like I said, I'm very happy with the direction we're heading. Even though we're 3-10, we're going to be really good pretty soon. We just need an offseason to fix some spots on the team. We're going to be pretty good for a dang long time. Very excited for it. Bryce Young had a good game. Doesn't light it up for you box score watchers, some of you, but he had a good game. 191 yards. He had 1 interception, but, bounced back from it. Threw a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, 26 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown. And unfortunately, Brooks tore his ACL in his right knee again in this game. Prayers for him for a speedy recovery. That just sucks, man. Thielen led the team in receiving, 9 catches, 102 yards. Tommy Tremble caught the touchdown. And Jose Jewell led the team in tackles with 10. Panthers had 4 sacks, 1.5 by A'Shawn Robinson and Jose Jewell, and 1 by DJ Wanham. 3 tackles for loss and 3 pass deflections. And Eddie Pinheiro went 1 for 1 on field goal long from 38. 69,879 people in attendance. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts barely went over 100 yards with 108. He threw 2 touchdowns. One of those shouldn't have counted on a legal pick, but it did. There, Philly. 20 carries, 124 yards for Barkley. He had a good game, but not as great as people acted like. A.J. Brown, 4 catches, 43 yards. Devontae Smith and Grant Calcaterra caught the touchdowns. And Nakobe Dean led the team in tackles with 12. Philly had 1 sack. That was by Zach Bond. And 6 tackles for loss and 5 pass deflections. C.J. Gardner-Johnson had the interception. And Jake Elliott missed a field goal. Like I said, though, it was a close game. Not much really to say about that. Well, there is, but I've already said it. Another game that, we should have won, but unfortunately we didn't, and it is what it is. But like I said, we had a really good game, and very excited for the future. Keep pounding. All right, moving on. We got the New Orleans Saints going to New Jersey to take on the Giants. I don't know if I said this earlier, but I just want to say for this video that if I sound like an idiot, sometimes I am battling a cold right now. And yeah, so voice is a little messed up and stuffy and all that stuff, but still gonna film. Saints barely got a win over the Giants. Before the game, there was a banner across going above the stadium saying, "Please fix this dumpster fire," for the Giants. Haven't seen that in a while. That's something I could say. Saints got the win, 14-11. It was a crappy game. Obviously, the 1 o'clock games, I watched Red Zone during commercials because the Panthers were playing on that time. But from what just look at the score. It's not a good game. Carr, before he got hurt, touchdown and a pick. Keandre Miller ran one in. Marquez Valdes-Scantling led the team in receiving. Juwan Johnson caught a touchdown. Ogu Amadi and Demario Davis led the team in tackles with 8. New Orleans had 2 sacks, 1 by Kaylon Sanders and 1 by Brian Brees. And they had 2 tackles for loss and 13 pass deflections. Demario Davis had an interception and 0 for 2 on field goals for the Saints. 76,143 people in attendance. Yeah, 0 for 2. Wow. Both teams didn't play good, from what I've seen. Saints improved to 5-8. Giants dropped to 2-11. Drew Lock with a rating of 48.6 threw an interception. Tyrone Tracy Jr. ran one in. Malik Neighbors led the team in receiving, 5 catches, 79. Mika McFadden had 11 tackles. Giants had 2 sacks, 1 by Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. 13 tackles for loss, 3 pass deflections. And Trey Hawkins, the third, had an interception. And Graham Gano went 1 for 2 on field goals from 43. The one he missed last seconds, where I believe blocked, wasn't it blocked? Something like that. Like I said, this was just not a good game. 2 crappy teams, especially the Giants. I mean, they don't even know what they're doing. Like that fan or whoever, if it was Malik Neighbors, said, fix the dumpster fire. All right, moving on. We got the Browns going to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Wilson threw for two touchdowns, and the Steelers moved past the mistake-prone Browns. Honestly, the Browns had the vision to win this game. They did 2 weeks ago against the Steelers on Thursday night. They had the vision to win this, but mistakes. Winston threw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, 212 yards. Nick Chubb, 11 carries, 48. Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku caught a touchdown. Mohamed Diabit had 7 tackles, led the team. Cleveland had 1 sack by Myles Garrett, 6 tackles for a loss, and 1 pass deflection. And Dustin Hopkins went 0 for 2 on field goals. 66,845 people in attendance. Meanwhile, for Pittsburgh, Justin Wilson. What? Russell Wilson, 2 touchdowns, 158 yards. Najee Harris ran 1 in. Pat Freiermuth caught a touchdown, and Van Jefferson caught a touchdown. Deshaun Elliott led the team in tackles with 13. Pittsburgh had 3 sacks, 2 by Cameron Hayward, and 1 by Elandon Roberts. 7 tackles for loss and 5 pass deflections. James Pierre and Keanu Benton had interceptions for Pittsburgh. Chris Boswell, as always, who should be like kicker of the year, went 2 for 2 on field goals. Long from 54. Expected. I got this game right. I don't know exactly how many games I got right, but I know I got a lot. I got a lot right this week for the second week in a row. Knock on wood. But yeah, that was expected. Steelers getting the win over the Browns, their division rival. Well, it may not be so expected to a lot of people as how the Falcons started. Now they're on a 4-game losing streak. They were 6-3. I'm pretty sure. Falcons were 6-3. Now they are 6-7, which I knew they were going to choke. I called it. But Kirk Cousins not having a good last month or so. 2 interceptions. Bijan ran 1 in. He had a good day. Tyler Algier also had a good day. He ran 1 in. Darnell Mooney led the team in receiving, 6 catches, 142. Kaden Ellis led the team in tackles with 10. And Atlanta had 4 sacks, 1 by Matthew Judon, Kaden Ellis, Eddie Goldman, and Arnold Egbike. 8 tackles for loss and 2 pass deflections. And Younghoe Koo went 2 for 2 on field goals, long from 29. 67,008. I thought this game was going to be closer than what it was. I didn't think it would be 42-21. But Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison balled out. And that felt... Yo, I seen some videos and clips of the Falcons secondary. What the fuck were they doing? I mean, honestly. Sam Darnold falls just short of a perfect passer rating with a rating of 157.9. Darnold threw 5 touchdowns, 347 yards. Aaron Jones ran 1 in. Jordan Addison, 8 catches, 133 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 7 catches, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Blake Cashman, Josh Metellus, and Cameron Bynum led the team in tackles with 7. Minnesota had 1 sack, and that was by Jamin Davis. 4 tackles for loss and 8 pass deflections. Josh Metellus and Byron Murphy Jr. with 2 interceptions. Not each, but they both had 1. And Will Reichard went 0 for 1 on a field goal. This was not really a blowout. I guess it was. I mean, 42-21. It's not great. Falcons did good moving the ball, though. But just turnovers, 3 turnovers, different mistakes. Penalties killed them, too. It's just simple things that killed the Falcons. And who's surprised? Not me. All right, moving on, we got the Las Vegas Raiders going to Tampa to take on the Bucks. This game was, I think it was like Baker and the Bucks were up by like 10-0, and then Raiders kind of tied it up, took the lead, whatever, and then Bucks just put their foot on the gas. Baker threw a lot of touchdowns in this one. Aiden O'Connell threw an interception before he got hurt. Desmond Ridder came in, did nothing. Sincere McMormick led the team in rushing, 15 carries, 78 yards. Aiden O'Connell ran 1 in. Michael Mayer caught 7 for 68. Jacoby Myers caught 7 for 67. And Trevor Moehrig had 8 tackles to lead the team. Raiders did have 4 sacks. 1 by Darnay Holmes, a half by Kavion Chasion, who's been making a name for himself. Trevor Moehrig and Amari Burney. 5 tackles for loss and 7 pass deflections. Jack Jones and Kayvon Chassion with interceptions, and Carlson was 2 for 2 on field goals. So Raiders ran a touchdown in. That was by Aiden O'Connell, and they got 2 field goals with 63,250 people watching. Meanwhile, for Baker, 295, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Rachaad White, 17 carries, 90 yards. He ran one in. K9 caught 3 for 70, and Rachaad White also caught a touchdown. Lavonte David and Kavion Merriweather both led the team in tackles with 7. Two sacks by the Bucks, Lavonte and Kavion. 2 tackles for loss and 3 pass deflections. Tyke Smith had an interception for Tampa, and Chase McLaughlin didn't attempt a field goal. This game was expected. I mean, Raiders are kind of on the same boat as the Giants, just not as ass. Raiders dropped to 2-11, and Bucks improved to, I think that's 7-4. Let me double check here. 7-6. Why did I say 7-4? Holy crap. 7-6. This NFL season has gone fast, guys. So, yeah. This game was a sleeper. This was probably, based off looking at it, the most important game of the year. Jaguars and Titans. I mean, if you were one of the 61,644 people that went to this game, I'm sorry. I hope you guys got a refund. Mac Jones went out there, 2 interceptions. Tank Bigsby ran one in. That was the only touchdown of the game. Brian Thomas Jr. led the team in receiving, 8 catches, 86 yards. Foye Sadalucone led the team in tackles with 11. Jacksonville had 2 sacks, one by Josh Hines-Allen and one by Jerian Jones. 4 tackles for loss and 7 pass deflections. Cam Little went 1 for 1 on field goals from 23. Besides a touchdown, I mean, nothing was very good in this game. Will Levis threw 168 yards. Pollard over 100. Ridley led the team in receiving, 7 catches, 59. Luke Gifford led the team in tackles with 12. Tennessee had 1 sack, and that was by, guess who? Bet you guessed it, Harold Landry. Or you're going to say Jeffrey Simmons. I'll give you a point for that, too. 5 tackles for loss and 4 pass deflections. Chidobe Awuzie and Otis Reese had interceptions for Tennessee. And obviously the kicker went 2 for 2 on field goals because that was their only points. Yeah, like I said, boring game. 10-6. All field goals besides a touchdown by Tank. Next up, we got a game that went to overtime. The Jets went to Miami and won this game. Oh, whoa. What is up? When you have a cold, you just say things so wrong. Dolphins got the win over the Jets. 32-26. Excuse me. Now, this seemed like a good game. Rodgers, 339 yards and a touchdown. Braylon Allen led the team in rushing, even though he didn't score. Isaiah Davis ran one in. Garrett Wilson, 7 catches, 114 yards. Davante Adams, 9 catches, 109 yards and a touchdown. Jamian Sherwood had 18 tackles for the Jets. No sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 4 pass deflections. And Andrews Carlson went 4 for 4 on field goals. So, 4 for 4 on field goals, that's 12 points. And then Isaiah Davis ran one in and Rodgers to Davante. The simple but effective connection between those two. Tua threw 331 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devin Achane ran one in. Tyreek Hill led the team in receiving, 10 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown. I believe that was like his first touchdown since like the end of October. Jonnu Smith caught a touchdown on 3 catches, 44 yards. And Jordan Brooks led the team in tackles with 9, with 3 sacks, 1 by Jordan Brooks and 2 by Zach Sire. 5 tackles for loss and 4 pass deflections. And Jason Sanders was 4 for 4 on field goals. So Miami got 12 points for field goals. Devin Achane ran one in, and then Tyreek Hill and Jonnu Smith caught one. I predicted this game right, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I picked the Dolphins in this one. I was going to pick the Jets, but it's hard to pick them when they've had a disappointing season that they've had. By the way, I just want to say now in the future, whenever I say a player's name wrong, don't come at me. There's different ways to say many different names. Like, there's some names where some people say it this way, some people say, like, for example, Panthers defense coordinator is Ejiro Evero. He's a coach, right? But people call him, say the name different than what it is. And obviously there's always one that's right at the end of the day. Obviously what him and his family says, and you know what I mean. But, if you say somebody's name wrong, shouldn't come at them. Seahawks and Cardinals. What happened with the Cardinals, man? Now they're on a 3-game losing streak. Come on. I want them to make these playoffs here. I definitely kind of want that. Geno Smith, 233 yards, threw a touchdown. Jacques Charbonnet had a day. Ooh, made a rhyme there. 22 carries, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. JSN caught a touchdown. Tyrese Knight led the team in tackles with 12. Seattle had 2 sacks, one by Rashawn Jenkins and one by Jonathan Hankins. Jenkins and Hankins. 5 tackles for loss, 9 pass deflections. Ernest Jones and Kobe Bryant both had interceptions for the Seahawks. And Jason Myers went 3 for 3 on field goals, 1 from 36. 64,533 people in attendance. Kyler Murray went 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. James Conner ran not for 90 yards. Trey McBride led the team in receiving, 7 catches, 70 yards. And Michael Wilson caught a touchdown. James Conner caught a touchdown. And Budda Baker led the team in tackles with 18. Cardinals had no sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and 2 pass deflections. Cardinals, man, wish you won this game. Seattle is in the driver's seat for the division. A while ago, it was the Rams and the Cardinals, now the Seahawks. Who do you guys think is going to win the NFC West? Make your prediction and what their record's going to be. But it's going to be very close. I don't think the Niners will. Unfortunately, I don't think the Cardinals will. They could, but they probably got to win at least 3 or 4 games and hope for some things to happen. But I'd say if you hit 9 or 10, you win this division, which Seattle is close to doing. Meanwhile, hitting a bunch of points, 42-44. Rams get the win over the Bills. I predicted this one right. I confidently said that. Bills dropped to 10-3. Rams improved to 7-6. Josh Allen was the first player ever, I believe, to throw 3 touchdowns and run 3 touchdowns in. So that's pretty much what he did. 3 touchdowns passing, 3 touchdowns rushing. I watched this game at 4 after the Panthers game. Obviously, this was game of the week. 342 yards for Allen. Khalil Shakir caught 5 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Matt Collins, Ty Johnson caught the other touchdowns. Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin led the team in tackles with 13. Bills had no sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and 2 pass deflections. Tyler Bass didn't attempt a field goal. There are 73,493 lucky people to see this game in person. Meanwhile, for the Rams, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns for Stafford. Kyren Williams, 29 carries, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. Have a day. Puka Nacua also ran one in. I believe that was his first career rushing touchdown. He also led the team in receiving by a good chunk. 12 catches, 162 yards, a touchdown for him and Cooper Kupp on 5 catches, 92. Christian Roseboom led the team tackles with 8. Rams had no sacks, no tackles for loss, and 3 pass deflections. And Joshua Carty went 1 for 1 a field goal from 22. I will say the Bills did almost come back, but there was a controversial time management when they QB needed or QB sneaked it, and they called a timeout, which they would have had 3 for the Rams the next possession. But overall, the Rams, they played a really good game. They were the better team, and they got those results. By the way, I know I just said the Rams were the better team. I don't mean they are the better team. They were the better team that Sunday. Any given Sunday league. The Bears got their ass kicked by the Niners, 38-13. Only the Bears play that much worse after firing their head coach, who was the problem. Caleb Williams threw 2 touchdowns, 134 yards. Swift led the team in rushing with only 38 on 14 carries. DJ Moore, 6 catches, 49 yards. Rome Odunze caught 2 touchdowns. TJ Edwards led the team in tackles with 10. Chicago had 1 sack, and that was by TJ Edwards. 4 tackles for loss and 4 pass deflections. Jonathan Owens had an interception. And Carlos Santos went 0 for 4, 0 on field goals. He didn't attempt a field goal. Fuck. 71,662 people in attendance for this game. But yeah, the Bears fired their coach, and they looked worse. Brock Purdy came in, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 145.4 passer rating. Isaac Grundu ran 2 in, 15 carries, 78 yards. Patrick Taylor Jr. also ran 1 in. George Kittle caught the ball 6 times, 151 yards. Jawan Jennings caught 2 touchdowns. Devondre Campo led the team in tackles with 7. Niners had 7 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, and 3 pass deflections. They also had 1 field goal from 23 by Jake Moody. Like I said, Bears fired their coach, and they got way worse, which is hilarious to me. And then finally, for this week in the NFL, we got the Cincinnati Bengals going to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. The ending was just bad. That punt. Don't even want to, you guys should know that. Yeah, 27-20. It was a back and forth game. It was a good one. But ultimately, the Bengals got the win. And Joe Burrow threw 3 touchdowns, 369 yards, and an interception. Jamar Chase had a good game, 14 catches, 177 for 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown also caught a touchdown. Akeem Davis-Gathers led the team in tackles with 8. Cincinnati had 3 sacks, 1 by Joseph Asai, 1 by B.J. Hill, and 1 by Trey Hendrickson, who has more than the whole team combined. 4 tackles for loss and 5 pass deflections. Geno Stone finally did something for their defense with an interception, and Cade York went 2 for 2 on field goals. There were 92,587 people in attendance for this game. Meanwhile, for the Cowboys, Cooper Rush, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Rico Dowell had a good game, 131 yards. He's been having a couple good last games recently. CeeDee Lamb, 6 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Brandon Cooks also caught a touchdown. Eric Kendricks led the team in tackles with 12. 2 sacks, a half by Donovan Wilson, 1.5 by Martis Lefu, and 2 tackles for loss, 6 pass deflections. Devontae Turpin had a good game. Brandon Aubrey went 2 for 2 on field goals, 47. Like I said, this was back and forth, but ultimately the Bengals got a well-needed win. And real quick, there are 6 championship games this past weekend in college football. The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship, Arizona State and Iowa State. What the heck? 45-19. This was a blowout. Arizona State got the job done here. And Cam Sketebo, I don't know how to say that last time. I know he is. He went nuts, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns on 16 carries. Then in the SEC Championship, damn it, Texas. Come on. Did somebody beat this team? 22-19. Texas shits to bed. Big Ten Championship, Penn State and Oregon. Oregon won this one. I got this prediction right. 45-37. This was a good game. Clemson beat SMU. This was interesting. SMU scored, and then Clemson hit a 58 game-winning field goal. I think that was the longest in ACC championship history to win the game. Good job for Clemson there. And then on Friday, Army won the American Athletic Championship, and Mountain West champions are Boise State, mainly ran by Ashton Jeanty. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys want to see in future videos. And please hit the subscribe button, like our videos. And I am aware of the TikTok ban coming soon, likely. So hopefully, we'll find another platform to we're going to make a Twitch for J&D Sports Talk soon for streams and gaming, stuff like that. This is a sports podcast mainly, but other content too. but I'll address that about the TikTok ban as we get closer to it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Keep pounding.